Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting back into Love Island series 11. We are now on episode 18. And my god, this was an episode that needed to be talked about. Like, seriously needed to be talked about, because the bullshit that was playing out on my screen last night was effed up to the highest degree. Like, fully effed up to the highest degree, yeah. The games that people played up in there, oh my life. But before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all the good things that you do, because you know I'm on the road to 1k. I also want to thank everybody so far that is coming in and subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos and watching those videos all the way through. And those that actually do comment, I enjoy seeing your comments. I really do. Just on a side note, before we do get into this video, is I've noted that there is Love is Blind Brazil back, another season 4, so I may get into that as well. Okay, so let's speak about this episode, shall we? Let's speak about this episode. So my first thing is I don't know why Tiffany had to say what she had to say in regards to her not feeling Ronnie like that and doing it in front of Harriet without telling Ronnie first. At the end of the day, I was just like, go, you had your chat with Jess, go tell the man what you need to say, why you need to take it back to the whole of the girls. And you see Harriet sitting there quiet for once in her ass life. She was quieter than a church mouse. And you want to know why? Because how much you want to bet Harriet will sneak her way back to Ronnie. Harriet will find a window to sneak her way back to Ronnie, because that's how Harriet was going to play it. Sean basically moves on to Matilda, and he recognizes that sometimes he can jump in too fast with Matilda. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, Matilda liked the fact that Sean did what he did, so he may as well carry on doing what he's doing, because she kind of likes it at the end of the day. I don't know how long he can keep that up, because it's kind of like when Sean gets desperate that he starts to do things a little bit differently than what he normally would do things, like in terms of interrupting Omar with Matilda and just like grabbing her and doing certain things and this, that and the other. So the lads decided to play this game called Eggy Buff. I don't know why the frick it's called Eggy Buff, because what you do basically is when someone comes over, you just ignore them fully. So I think Joey was having a conversation about Omar at first, and then they decided to play this game. So then Omar comes over and nobody was chatting to him, so he was like, what's going on here? So when they told him, yeah, he found it funny, man, he found it hella funny. So I was like, the girls decided to come over, so Nicole and Mimi decided to come over to chat to the lads, and I was like, Kieran, don't. And my first thought was, don't do this game with the girls, because it won't go over well with some certain girls, especially with someone like Nicole and her temperament, right? And I was right, because what happened was when Kieran ignored her, she took it elsewhere. Like, she overreacted to the nth degree and started walking off in a huff. And I was like, and the guys were shouting, Nicole, just come back, it was literally a game, and tried to explain the game to her. Do you think this girl would listen? No, not at all. So you see, it moves to, you see Tiffany and Ronnie having a chat, and basically Tiffany is telling Ronnie where she's at this moment in time, that she feels that something's missing, even though Ronnie's saying it's early days and that they do kiss and that they do cuddle and have had that time with each other. Tiffany is not feeling anything more for this guy. Tiffany is not feeling that innate sexual vibe with him at the end of the day, and believes that he just banters all the time, even though it is too early. That's where she's at. So she kind of end things with Ronnie. Ronnie actually took it quite well, to be fair. Ronnie did take it quite well. So Ronnie is telling Joey about the chat, and Tiffany is telling the girls, and Tiffany is saying that he really took it well, and Ronnie is basically not disappointed either way, but he's saying again, it's too early. They could gravitate back towards each other. We don't know that, because I think Ronnie was still trying to pull Tiffany for talks, wanting to get to know her, wanting to see if he can build that deep connection with her. So I think that's what would have come next, because I don't think Ronnie wanted to lose Tiffany in that sense, because he really was interested in the girl. So you see Nicole pulls Jess and moans about the game that they were playing, and wanted to know if she was overreacting. And Jess, of course, is saying, no, you ain't overreacting. Yes, she was. Nicole was fully overreacting to the whole situation. And here goes Grace again, talking to Joey about saying Omar has been flirting with her in passing. She doesn't exactly know what it was that he said, so she doesn't want to cause any issues. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why is Grace doing this? Like, seriously, why is she doing this right now? Like, is she really wanting to back up Joey to see how far he'll be willing to take it with her? Is she really into these freaking mind games that she's playing right now? Because there was no need for it. Like, literally no need for it at all. So the reason why I think Joey blew up in the way that he did is because Grace did say that if Joey was not in there, Omar would be her type. Bearing in mind, Joey looks nothing like freaking Omar. They are complete polar opposites. And you know what? Omar is the better looking of the two. To be fair, that's how I'm going to say it. Omar is the better looking of the two. So I think that's what got to be more so in Joey's bonnet than anything else. And I think Grace knew the words she needed to say to put that fire under this man's ass. Because I'm like, nah, if you're going to play these games with this man, Joey needs to literally have his eyes and his ears open and not literally rule off his emotions when it comes to this gal, because this is not the one for me. This weren't the one for me. So Nicole is there still sitting moaning about queuing about it's giving child, and I'll say for me it's giving lighten the fuck up. That's what it's given for me. Nicole needs to lighten up at the end of the day. And I'm getting fed up, of people using Kieran's age against him. At the end of the day, it was a game. He was playing with the lads. Any lad of any age wants to get with their boys, act laddish. That's what they do. You either roll with the punches, if it ain't that deep, or if it is that deep, you have that conversation with them straight after and say, this is where you went wrong, my guy. Do you know what I mean? Not carry on the way in which Nicole carried on, because it was stupid at the end of the day. So, you see Harriet having this chat with Sean in regards to this situation that happened between Tiffany, where Tiffany and Ronnie and now are. Now, this girl is planning to wear her pink bikini in the daytime to grab Ronnie's attention. I'm just like, I just can't with this girl, because at the end she's gonna keep doing this all the time, and this is why Ronnie knows that he can keep playing these games with this girl. Keep playing these games with Harriet, because Harriet is literally laying on her back like a freaking doormat and saying, come get me. Like, seriously, I mean, the man dumped her and she's still wanting to make a play for him. She wants Tiffany's place. So Joey decides that he's going to go have a chat with Omar. And as again, the only reason why Joey is doing this is because Grace said Omar would be someone she would be interested in if Joey was not there. I'm just like, if Grace didn't like the banter that was coming out of Omar's mouth at the time, she could have had those conversations with Omar, could she not? It begs the question as to say, well, if Omar was saying certain things to you, what the fuck were you doing? Were you receptive to that? Were you telling him, no, I don't want to hear that? Were you telling him I was with Joey? What was Grace doing at that point in time? When she says Omar was flirting with her, because I don't believe he was. I really don't believe he was. I think he was having banter with the girls, the way he always has banter with all of the girls up in there. So Joey basically tried to rear up to Omar like he was the big I am. And all I thought was, look, my guy, if Omar really wanted to back you down, you would have been back down in your place about, he was saying to Omar about there's no competition, there's this, that and the other, there ain't no competition between, and I was like, all I needed Joey to do was turn around and say blood at the end of that. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it was coming off like. That's what it was coming off like. Omar held his own. Don't get me wrong. Omar held his own, because at the end of the day, Joey was trying to draw Omar out over bullshit that Grace had said, knowing full well, you know what? Critical freaking thinking, my dude. That's what Joey needed to do in that point in time. Critical thinking and say, why is Grace telling you this shit now? B, what did Grace do in that situation? And C, if you really wanted to have a conversation with Omar, you didn't need to draw him out in the way that you drawed him out. You could have literally pulled him to one side and said, you know what? This has come up and I just wanted to chat to you like man to man, boy to boy. Do you know what I mean? Because I do respect ya. If Joey had any type of respect for Omar, that's the way he would have went about it. Because at the end of the day, all he did was blow a gasket because Grace said Omar was her type and she would go for him if Joey was not in that villa. It weren't about no flirty banter, because my gal couldn't even remember what Omar had said to her. Now, if he was really being flirty Bertie with you and being untoward, you'd remember every single freaking word that man said to you. She couldn't remember a bean. And that's what tells me Grace was playing some kind of fricked up mind game. So that's why I'm saying red flag number two, and Joey's gone down in my estimations on that one. So then you get this situation between Nicole and Kieran. Now she's saying that she's going to ignore Kieran for the night. It didn't work out well for her, because Kieran did get up out the bed and decide to go to the day bed and sleep, because he's like, fuck this shit, I ain't putting up with it no more. At the end of the day, Kieran really likes Nicole, but Nicole needs to calm her ass down sometimes. Not everything needs a freaking reaction to. Yes, you were pissed off that he ignored you. Have that conversation with him. As people say, never go to bed on an argument, because when you get up in the morning, you're still going to have to deal with it. And you're still not going to be in that right frame of mind to want to deal with it, because you're still going to want to continue to perpetuate the type of behavior that you're already started from the night before, because you didn't deal with it the night before. Now it's going to continue into the day until you do deal with it at the end of the day. To the daytime, and you see Omar's still fully pissed off with the actions that Joey took, and you see Grace ain't said not a frass bean to Omar, you know what I mean, anything like that. So you see Kieran come in, and he literally just came in and with his actions completely showed Nicole, right, if you want to ignore me, I'll ignore you for real. Do you know what I mean? So he picked up his shades from off the side of the table. Nicole was looking at him. He walked over, I think it was to Uma and Will's bed, I think it might have been, or it might have been Ayo and Mimi's bed, and sat down with them. She got pissed by that, and I thought it serves you right. At the end of the day, it really does serve you right, because you like to overreact to situations that ain't that deep at the end of the day. Both of them were kind of in a pathetic space. Both of them kind of show pathetic behaviours at the end of the day. But it's for Nicole to go fix that now with Kieran, because she literally took that to a realm it really didn't need to go to. So now you see them getting ready, and of course Nicole is the one with the biggest mouthpiece, and she's moaning about how Kieran did what he did, and now it's giving child, and she can't be arsed with it. And I was just like, I can't be arsed with you, really, to be fair. Like, seriously. So Joey's basically saying that there's no tension between him and Omar. There was no tension, though. There was no tension. It was a tension that Grace caused and you reacted to. That's what that tension was. Omar didn't have no tension with Joey in the slightest. So basically Joey wanted to have that go at Omar. He really did. It burned Joey to think that, you know what, Grace would have went for him if he wasn't in the villa. It burned him. So Joey made that weird tension. Omar didn't make that tension at all, and Grace was the one that lit the freaking match to start the fucking fuel for the fire in the first place. So he's talking about how Omar was going on shady, and I'm like, he wasn't at all. Because if Omar really wanted to go for Grace, he would go for Grace the same way Omar's showing that he likes Matilda and he's going for Matilda in front of Sean. So if he really wanted to, he would have done. So I don't know what Grace is talking about. Nicole, throughout this bit, was getting on my damn nerves as well. Like, it's like she needs to constantly keep pulling Kieran to task and becoming more like his mother than his girlfriend. And for me, it's becoming a bit too much. I don't know, it's like for Kieran in there day in day out, but it's coming a bit too ras much. And this was a straw on the camel's back, where I'm thinking, if this is how she behaves in here, how the frick is she going to navigate a relationship with Kieran once they get on the outside? Because is she going to keep telling him, oh, you can't go and do that, or you can't, because he's always going to act laddish with his boys. We all the time, this is what they do. It's the same way we act girlish or different ways with the girls that we're with, depending on who we're with. Because I can do some stupid ass stuff when I'm with my close friends, do you know what I mean? So yeah, she needs to fix up on that one. Like seriously, it definitely was not too deep. So Kieran is basically saying that at this point he is not going to speak to the girl because he's pissed right now at this point, so he doesn't really want to speak to her. So Tiffany's talking about the conversation that she had with Ronnie again, and Jess believes that the lads will be laughing at me. And I was like, nah, actually, Jess, the lads weren't laughing at Ronnie, to be fair, and Ronnie was fine with the decision that was made at the end of the day. So he tells Io and Kieran that he got dumped and he ain't mad about it. And I was like, and he was like, you know what? And Turbo's back in the building. I was like, oh shit, here we go again. Here we go. Because we know what's going to come once he says Turbo is back in the building. Because I said, I bet you bottom dollar this man is going to play for Harriet again. He will. Because it's like Ronnie does need someone there constantly. Like, seriously. Ugh. So Harriet again can't help herself talking about Ronnie and now with Jess, because Harriet thinks Ronnie knows that she will not stand for his bullshit. And I was like, my girl, Ronnie has played you on all levels, and you still ain't been able to handle the shit that he peddles out to you, because you just keep going back with open arms all the time. And that's why Ronnie knows he can do what he can do with Harriet. He can do what he do with Harriet. You don't see him trying to travel back to Jess because he knows that Jess will tell him about his clot and he won't get away with it at the end of the day. So you see Joey now wants to talk to Omar. Joey is full of, like, absolute full of it. Omar basically confirms to him that any flirtatious banter or anything like that, it's friendliness. And at the end of the day, his friendliness can come off as flirting. And he does it with everyone. So I was just like, why? Do you know what? Yeah, that was not needed. It was not needed at all. At the end of the day, Omar is right, wherein you're saying he's done something, but nobody is telling him what was said and what was done, because Grace don't even freaking know herself. And that's why I know how Grace is playing these mind-bending games with this guy, and she's going to do it again. It's Grace who is the issue fully, and she's going to do it again, and we'll see if Joey jumps to the drum as she wants him to do. So in comes Maya looking sexy as hell, and it's fire pit time. So basically it was the public vote that had to vote for the favourite couples, and the fewest votes in terms of the couples will be at risk of being dumped from the island. Matilda and Connor were exempt from it because they've just only come in. So the couples that were saved were Mimi and Io, Nicole and Kieran, Harriet and Sean. At risk was Uma and Will, Ronnie and Tiffany, Jess and Omar, Grace and Joey. So it's the safe islands that go to decide. I had the feeling already that they would get rid of Omar. I thought they would get rid of Jess though within that, but I thought they would get rid of Omar because Sean wants a clear path to Matilda. So Sean will cop out and get rid of Omar because he does not want the competition. That's how I saw it, and you know what, it came true to pass. You see, Ao tried to save Umar. You see, Kieran tried to save Umar too, because they didn't like the decision making that Omar too that was going on in that scenario. Now, me myself, I would have picked Grace and Joey to go, and the reason being is they've refound each other and reconnected with each other in this villa. So why are they still here? Why would they still be here? What would the purpose be of Joey and Grace still remaining within the villa? You might as well let them go and let them go pair off outside the villa, because that's in essence what it is that you want these people to do, to pair off outside the villa. Not forgetting, yes, we've got £50,000 to play for, do you know what I mean? So is the competition there. But when it came to Harriet and Sean, I think they were the ones that had the overall say on what it is they wanted to do. Basically, Harriet was going to get rid of Tiffany because she gets rid of the competition, because Ronnie was still going to try and make a play for Tiffany. Make no doubts about that, he was. And Sean, again, wanted to get rid of Omar because it gets rid of the competition for him. Now, the only thing I would say is unfair about the Omar pick, I didn't really give a crap about the Tiffany pick, to be honest with you. The only thing I would say unfair about the Omar pick is the fact that Omar was making a connection with Matilda, and Sean, in doing what he did, took away the choice of Matilda on who she was going to pick, because there's no telling whether she would have picked Sean or not at the end of the day, because she was liking the look of Omar. But then as time comes to pass, because we know that Omar and Tiffany did leave the villa because that's who they picked to leave. But as time comes to pass, I was kind of hoping that we'd see the next beat, and it would be that, you know, if they bring back Casa Amor onto this episode, that Omar and Tiffany would go to Casa Amor, because that would stick it to them even more. Do you know what I mean? That's what I was hoping for. But yeah, I think it was an absolute bullshit decision, because it was basically a strategic play for Sean and for Harriet at the end of the day, because you could clearly see that Kieran and Ao didn't agree with the decision that was made. It was a Harriet and Sean decision. You can see after they've left, that the conversations that happen afterwards. So Kieran is basically telling Sean that he didn't agree with the decision that was made, and he didn't agree with how it was made at the end of the day, because Sean is trying to say that he had more of a connection with Matilda than what Omar did. How the fuck do you know that, Sean? You don't know their conversations. You don't know how they were with each other. The same way Omar wouldn't know the same. At the end of the day, Omar was trying to build his connection with Matilda. Sean got jealous. He wanted a free pathway. He didn't want a competition. So ergo, get rid of Omar. With Tiffany, for Harriet, it was kind of like, you know, you've already told Ronnie that you don't really want to be with him, so now I need to get rid of you in able to clear a path for me to get back to you. That was Harriet's thinking at the end of the day. Let's make no mistake about it. Harriet is still going to continue to gun for this man no matter what. So it came to, you see, Jess talking to the girls in regards to the situation between her and Ronnie. Now, they had not fully gained closure, because Jess made the decision that she made to go with Sean. Now, I believe if it came to that recoupling and Jess hadn't made that decision, Ronnie would have still picked Jess within all of that, but still played around with Harriet, because at the end of the day, it would scream as Jess is the wifey, but Harriet is the plaything, and that's where it's coming from. So now, as they're talking, you see Harriet already, boom, gung-ho for Ronnie. Gung-ho for Ronnie straight away. And basically sitting there, and Ronnie's giving Harriet the spiel all over again. Ronnie pointedly tells her, I ain't coming back to you because Tiffany has gone. But basically saying that the reason why he was the way he was with Tiffany and picked Tiffany is because he ran away from the problem. Thought, here we go again with the bullshit. Here we go again with the bullshit. Jess was not liking this interaction that Ronnie and Harriet was having at all, because she could see that, you know what, the games are being played all over again, and Harriet was giggling and loving it. I just like, this man literally dumped Harriet, like literally dumped this girl, and she's back to slobbering on his jockey like wonders will never cease. Oh God, as you can see, I'm lost for words with what happened there. And you see Grace and Joey having their conversation about how they shouldn't have been in the at-risk couples, and I'm like, Joey, you seem to not realise that it was probably down to you and your behaviour with Sam, and then in the past coming weeks that used to have ended up in the bottom couple. And if there's another public vote, I'll probably see Joey and Grace in the bottom couple again, because Grace is a red flag for me in regards to what she did to Omar, and the same with Joey. I don't like that combination. I really don't. And if people want to talk about snaky, I'm gonna say Grace is very quite snaky in her behaviour. Totally snaky in her behaviour. But hey ho. And that is where the episode ended, and I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button, so when you know I'm on and doing videos, please comment, like, share, and do all the good stuff that you do, because I am on the road to 1K. Anyway, my people, peace out, and speak to you again soon.